Hi there, my name's Cleo and I run the YouTube channel Cars and Bras, and this of course here is my mini Cooper R53 that I also use on the channel. So I've also got two other cars within the fleet. So I've got the Defender 90, which I've had for quite a while now, sort of about the last 10 years, and I've also got the C30 T5, which is my daily driver when I'm not using the other two. So obviously you can see it's definitely not standard, so I've done quite a few things to it. In terms of what's been done, I've had an orange G-wing fitted to the external side of things. We've got NK RPF1 wheels fitted as well. They're a 16x7J ET35, so they're direct perfect fit for the car itself. I've also got some R888 tyres for obviously my track days, so they're semi-slicks, which is not really brilliant for today as such in wet weather. Otherwise, obviously we've got a few decals. We've had a bit of a red flare to it just to make it stand out a little bit differently. So I have got a AirTech intercooler mounted to the front, so top mount intercooler. We've also got a Canton aluminium racing tank because these are really prone to splitting, so I've got one of those fitted. Otherwise, it's got a 17% reduced pulley on it, as well as I've done a few little other bits as well, just with general maintenance, such as doing the new tensioner on it, new belts, because obviously they like to snap all the time. So we've also got the polybushed engine mounts, upper and lower. It's also got the orange cold air induction kit, and I've also got a silicone pro hose on that as well, as because they're prone to splitting. But in terms of the actual engine, it's not really had that much to it. It's only running approximately about 208, 209 brake horsepower, so it's not that really much of an increase, but enough for what I want to do with it anyway. So the interior's had quite a lot of changes, probably the most amount of changes on the actual car itself. So we've got, one of the first things I actually did was change the headlining. So I've actually had all black headlining put in all the way through. We've got the OMP 330mm steering wheel on a Boss adapter kit. Obviously you can see as well, probably one of the main features is the Corbo Pro Series seats. As well as I've got 5-point Luke harnesses with the JCM logos on there as well. Obviously all the custom clock dials have all been changed, they're yellow. The dash itself has been done black because originally before it was grey. I've also had the door cards, I've got facelift door cards on it, as well as, so the car itself is quite club sport spec in that sense. We've also got the cage as well that's mounted at the back, so just the half of the cage. But yeah, it's just a nice place to sit in, and obviously I like the fact that it is just all pretty much darkened out now, which is much nicer than the original grey. So I use it for track days, essentially, pretty much track days, events, any kind of shows we get to. It's just more of a hobby kind of car. It's a weekend toy as opposed to an everyday driver. It was used every day, but obviously as soon as I started modifying it, it became a little less user friendly. So yeah, it's purely just pretty much track toy now. That's what I use it for. We also do a lot of the car shows as a kid growing up. We went to Bewley, he'd take us to a lot of the classic car shows, to Santa Pod a lot. I think my actual initial kind of going from there though is when I was old enough to sort of buy my own car. Then I could obviously start working on it. And I got onto all the forums, especially the mini forums, was where I met a lot of people. From there I did my first track day, and then from there it just literally blew up and progressed. And now of course I'm looking to sort of take that from, you know, a hobby and a passion, actually turn that into a career, which is why I'm sort of doing the motorsport side of things. So from there I went on to volunteer with a motorsport racing team, so literally just as assistants, so what with the race weekends, up at the unit, working on the cars, prepping them. From there on, I just did really enjoy it. So I thought, well, how can I turn, you know, this into a career? Because I'm in the property industry at the moment. Obviously, it's a totally different aspect from one to the other. So I ended up going to work from them. I did that last year. I've actually then got invited to go back and work for them this year. So I actually get paid this year, which is great. So it's a really good achievement to kind of go from nothing to, you know, actually get into what I want to do. So from there I've actually decided to go essentially back to school to go study it. So I've just started and enrolled in a college course. I'm going to be doing a level 3 motorsport technology and vehicle course in that, which is, yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it. It's nice to actually understand what actually goes on within the car, because I think that's a very important factor, especially if I want to do, you know, more the YouTube side of things. So yeah, so that's kind of my goal, is to end up with hopefully finishing the course, go work as a race technician, and then from there on go and actually have my own garage and run my own racing team, which is, that's my main kind of aim of the game at the end of it. The way that I sort of use YouTube for me is basically just to create a platform for me to work off of, basically. So for me to be able to, you know, maybe go and approach someone who might have a certain car, or a manufacturer, or a product, or a location that is obviously automotive based. And that would then give me, you know, that platform to go and talk to those people. Me and my mum were kind of saying, you know, I want to give it a different name. I don't want it to be named after me. So we kind of ended up throwing out a couple of names. We were just sparring names out in the office. I think, you know, what could we do? And in the end, I will give her due. She did come up with the name Cars and Bras. It wasn't myself that did it. And yeah, I think she just kind of said, oh, what about Cars and Bras? And I kind of thought, no. Can you use that? Can you use that as a YouTube name? Like, is it okay? So I just thought, do you know what? I think that's the one. That's what we're going to do. I think it's very much kind of my personality. I think I'll probably pull it off slightly. And it's just catchy. It's a catchy name. It kind of rolls off the tongue. So I will give it due. It wasn't my name that I came up with. It was actually my mum who came up with the Cars and Bras name. And it's just kind of stuck, I guess. So outside of motoring, my hobbies, I guess, let's say, I do horse riding. Been doing that for a very long time. That was actually one of my first jobs, sort of coming out of school. Was a riding instructor. I did it for 4 years. From then, what else was there? Skateboarding. I'm a bit of a tomboy because I grew up with 2 older brothers, so I did a lot of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we did skateboarding all the time, mountain biking. So probably the most rewarding thing that I get from motorsport is, it is genuinely just the amount of people that you get to learn and meet sort of from within the industry. It's been, you know, it's the amount of knowledge that those people have that they can give to you. They've all been really, really good to me as well. Obviously, understanding that I'm coming in sort of from a no background, sort of no motorsport background other than what I do with this as a hobby, to actually then go and do it as a career. They are always great when it comes to asking some really peculiar and probably silly questions. So definitely the people that you meet from that industry is probably the most rewarding thing I'd say that I get out of it. Now the reason why I had it is because it actually served a purpose at the time, having that Defender. It's, like I said, I had the horses. That was my first job. So when I was 19, I used to day that every day at 19 years old. I thought it was quite cool at 19, driving around in one of those, being 5'1" as well, getting out of this great big car. I really enjoy it though. I think to use it as an everyday car, it's not ideal. It's, you know, you want the nice sort of luxury mod cons that a newer car would give. As such, but personally for what I do with it, obviously now at the age where I can actually drive it, because I've had it for 10 years now, I was 14 when we first got it, my dad had it, and then to actually be able to be old enough to go drive that and use it myself is quite nice. But yeah, to do the off-roading side of things, I find it a brilliant car. It's great, it's the 200 TDI engine in it as well, so it's a little bit more withstanding in that sense. I probably don't mind so much because I'm only small, so I haven't got the elbow issue when driving it. But yeah, mainly just for sort of for now, it's just another hobby, kind of fun toy car for off-roading purposes. It has a flat dog roof rack on it. It's got a spare tyre mounted on the front and the rear. It's got a snorkel mounted on. It's got BF Goodrich mud terrain tyres fitted as well. We've got a few more bits to do on the suspension side of things because it's a little bit low, because we now have, because it's used for camping as such. So I do quite a lot of camping. I like to go out and test it and find some new places. I'm very much an outdoorsy girl. So we've got a Path Seeker roof tent on top as well. So yeah, it's kind of, I'd say it's probably more expedition based as opposed to off-roading based. But yeah, it still is enough that it gets it around for what I need it to do anyway. So if people are looking to go into motorsport, you have to be prepared to give everything, essentially all your time. You know, it is hard work, it's very demanding, but it's also equally just as rewarding, you know, when you do achieve something or you do get to go work on a car or work with certain people. So yeah, if you want to do it, I think it's definitely passion driven. If you're passionate about it, go and do it. You know, I've come from essentially no background whatsoever, motorsport background. You know, so I think, you know, for me to go and do it and to be able to go and achieve that and then go and sort of go get into college course the way I have done, it's definitely doable. Definitely just have to put yourself out there if you really want to go and do it. So the next few years for me is going to essentially be a case of working towards my motorsport course and working as a race technician full time. That's what I'm obviously working towards. Obviously the whole YouTube channel would be a great sort of success as well if I can push that a bit more to go out and do those sort of more things, more opportunities, more driving cars, meeting more people. And then of course obviously I'd like to have my own garage, but I think that could be a little bit optimistic in the next 5 years, and that's probably more like a 10-year plan as such. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm aiming for. So there's a couple of things in there that, you know, all relatively similar, but working towards one sort of goal towards the end. So you can find me on my YouTube channel, which is literally Cars and Bras. I've also got a social media page on Instagram, which is just quite literally at Cleo Collins, which is my name, which is also on my car just here, which you may also find that. But yeah, they're probably the two main social pages that I use. Is that all right? Did that get to the point? Was that a waffle? I think I just waffle way too much.